I have returned once again today to deliver another stream of Banana Fish. Oh. Is it working? Is Twitch dying or is it just me? For some reason it just keeps on pausing and unpausing all the time. I have no idea why. But I think it's working. Hello! So yes, I actually have to actually cover Private Opinion of Banana Fish, which happens to actually deal with the events before Banana Fish, which deals with the fated meeting of Ash and Blanca, which happens to be a very integral part of the whole entire storyline. Thank God actually I had no idea when it was actually working, so it just kept on pausing randomly on here. But I think it might just be me actually. But yeah, I mean, as said with the whole thing with Shorter and Ash as well, it's a relationship that's actually been kind of explored to the point you actually know what's really going on between the two of them. But again, it's one of those ones that actually has more room to actually kind of, I guess in a way, grow and actually kind of be a bit more fleshed out. But as I said beforehand, the anime did a good job at actually kind of establishing how they see one another. So yeah, I mean, I'm actually kind of excited to actually see what they're doing for do with this kind of side story, because the side story is actually quite integral in my opinion as well, to maybe as an insight into Ash's life as well, before the events of Banana Fish. So anyways, I should grab some water before I start and actually put on to what's actually gone live. Oh, man. Sorry, I actually wasn't here yesterday as well. I actually wasn't going to cover this yesterday, but I got home from university and actually just passed out. I was so tired yesterday. I literally just passed out and woke up like a couple of hours later. I'm like, oh yeah, it's still Tuesday. I actually thought I missed Tuesday for a second. So gone live for Banana Fish. Private Opinion. And with that, I think we're good to go. Are we good to go? We're good to go on that front, so we're fine there, but I'll be fine here. Yes, we are. Oh my god, we're actually working on all fronts as well. It's actually a miracle. Today's actually a miracle. So I started off really badly because Twitch wants to die, apparently. But we're good to go now. We're good to go. So anyways, actually begin Private Opinion. I'm on the wrong tab as well. Actually on the wrong tab. Is Twitch actually okay? Is Twitch okay today? Because it's just... yeah, it is. Now it is. Okay, it's fine now. So anyways, let's actually begin Private Opinion. At first, I didn't realise that it was him. Oh no, that's not the right way to put it. For I did realise quickly that it was him. He had grown up and gotten a stronger build, but the unmatched beauty and those green eyes of his that never ceased to cast a spell upon people were the same as back then. And yet I couldn't get rid of the feeling that it might as well have been someone who just happened to look similar to him. Why? Because the him I was familiar with had never been a boy with such rich facial expressions. Hardly ever smiling, and while indeed beautiful, being covered in an armour of stern inexpressionists, the him who had been like a child of the lion. I had hard time acknowledging that the young American in front of my eyes, unarmed and laughing merrily and unconcerned, was him until, in the blink of an eye, he took notice of me being there, and all of a sudden the expression changed. The green pupils flared up, and he devoted his full attention to my presence. I became aware of his aurora beginning to light up like a fire, and then he took up a stance as though to protect the Asian boy, who seemed to be his friend. That was him without any doubt. The grown-up shape of that lion child. It's actually quite an interesting kind of introduction to the whole entire storyline, really, when you think about it, because it actually doesn't really tell you how much he actually has changed, and the fact is how much AG changed him as a person as well, to go as far as actually protect AG as well. You can tell, it's even just in that small snippet, it just tells you how much an importance AG had on his character. That's why I've always said AG is an amazing character. he managed to change Ash completely from this expressionless person to this person full of life. It kind of makes the ending just ever more painful. But when you kind of think about it in a larger context, it's kind of got that ending that it just, once you actually realize what actually happened beforehand and how much Ash and how much Adrian means to Ash, it kind of makes the whole entire experience just kind of hurt like 1% less, but it still hurts a lot. That's the problem. But yeah, that's why I've always said that Age is an amazing character. He just is. I love him so much. So anyways, I should continue. So, at first it was my... oh, hello. At first, it was my intention to decline. Long time no see. 1 year ago, isn't it? Yes. Thank you for your help back then. Ah, it was my pleasure. I assure that you came here to refuse my offer. I'm afraid you asked too much from me. Even more so considering that he's just 14 years old and... Oh, but I am not right when I say that you started training from even earlier age. Oh, but am I not right when I say that you started your training from an even earlier age on, Blanca? That is... In any case, let me introduce him to you in person. Afterwards, we can talk. Ah. Still, actually, I mean, you got a point there. My mind is still the fact that, yeah, 24 didn't happen. 24 did not happen. It's still 20 is like the cap off point for me. That's when I agree that banana fish actually existed. After that point, no. Yes, no doubt. You are the math teacher taken into employment last week. Ah, it wasn't me. It was him who invited me over. Please, you have to believe me. I certainly didn't... How could it come to this? Ash, are you there? Hey, you, are you alright? Don't touch me. Is it not so that you got violated by him? Huh? Make your clothes look presentable again. What a pathetic sight. My apologies. And you, fire that guy. Yes. Now, go take a shower and change your clothes. Get ready in 10 minutes and come to the garden house, understood? That was the first meeting impressive beyond words. What a pity that I let you catch a glimpse of him in such an indecent moment. And while indecent, I have to admit that it is not the first time that such a thing has occurred. You're telling me that? Altogether, that makes 5 cases now. Where we have had to fire a teacher. 4 men and 1 woman of various ages, from a 25-year-old fellow to a 42-year-old female teacher. And what they have in common is that every single one of them said, he asked me for it. I see. Of course, they had no chance but to regrettably accept the invitation, right? Well, what do you think? Hard to tell, given that I happened to meet him for the first time just a few minutes ago. It's pointless to hide the truth from you. To be honest, he originally was one of the goods offered in a club under my management, with the clients being, without an exception, high-class bureaucrats and politicians. It must have been thanks to his enticing appearance that says, "Look at me," after all. Indeed, it had proven itself to be completely and utterly useful. But the other side of his is, regardless of him being so well made, essentially a rotten egg. What that teacher said is most likely to assume that half of it was true, and the other half? Oh, but I failed to believe that you, Monsieur, of all people, would call for me just to let me cook a meal with a rotten egg. Right you are. It is true that I didn't think of him as a mere rotten egg. According to the Stanford Binet intelligence test, he has an IQ of 180, and after he'd been tested again in the light of the number being so high, they wanted to make sure it hadn't been due to a mistake. It was announced that he he even had an IQ above 180. Oh my, that's astonishing. Oh, Jesus Christ, I dropped my water. Grabbed the wrong bottle accidentally. I kind of like the fact that we're getting Ash's character from different perspectives. Like, it's actually kind of an interesting kind of, in a way, dichotomy between what you actually know him to be and also how other people see him. It's quite an interesting kind of development for his character, because we've been so used to how we've seen him, but from the other side of it, you get a different kind of way to look at him. It's like the same thing that happened with Shorter. Like, you actually got to know how he saw him first. It's actually a very interesting way to look at his character. It doesn't really change how we see him personally, but it just kind of gives us a different outlook on how we actually see him kind of going forward in a way. It's actually very interesting. But such circumstances, nothing but Fallius. Anyway, older than 20, you are just a nobody. You know more than a few examples of it, don't you, Blanca? You who had an academic degree in psychology as well as psychiatry, because it was an requirement. With those eyes of yours, I'd like you to evaluate his genius. I want to optimize him. So you intend to become a professor? So you intend to become Professor Higgins? No, it's entirely different from the act of letting a country lass pose as a lady. I like to think of him as a God's vessel. A most personal opinion of yours would be enough. If you think he is promising, I would like to ask you to raise him with your knowledge and experience. I see. It's a La Divina Commedia, much rather than My Fair Lady. If you give me your no, then let's cancel the project without hesitation. Monsieur, I don't feel exactly well with you giving me far too much credit like this. You should know what kind of person I am. A living weapon perfected by the Kremlin, yes? I am just a murderer. Well, if you insist, I'm sure you are aware of how much of an inefficient usage of time and money resources that one project was back then. From the 300 children who had been certified as geniuses and collected by the Soviet Union, it wasn't more than 18 people who remained after 15 years. The whole rest got filtered out. The ones who simply couldn't do it. Those who sustained severe injuries or died or became insane. There were a lot of you. There were a lot of reasons, you see. You, however, made it and survived. Yes, and that is why I think this way. Artificially create an elite. That's a saying of utter nonsense in the first place. Mankind isn't strong to such an extent. Playing God bears witness to nothing but foolish arrogance. Say, is that your personal opinion? I beg your pardon, monsieur. I said things I shouldn't have said. Even you have your times when you get emotional. Blanca. No, Sergei. Varishkov. But whatever. It does not seem as if we could come to a conclusion on that part anytime soon. Sergei Varishkov. Do you actually get his second name in the anime? If I really remember correctly, we've got his first name. I'm trying to remember, do we ever get his second name? Did he get his first name, actually, the more I think about it? No, he did get his first name. I remember someone actually saying his name. It's a partnership between you and me. I'm going to forget about your folks' past just now, and you, in return, will you lend me your ear for my request? How is that? He just dug his own grave with not coming, huh? Well, if he did, he still doesn't seem to be alarmed in the slightest. Not even when they try to feed a stated cat with bait. Is it a hobby of his to lie around dozing? You are awake, aren't you? Would you mind joining Would you mind me joining you, Wildcat Ash? Thanks. I thought he would run away, but it seems like his curiosity got the best of him. Well, that's just fine with me. I am called Blanca. A bit of a strange name, but it doesn't matter, right? And I don't care anyway. An expressiveness, as if he acquired it for himself. A movingly sullen child. Even secretary generals from whatever countries are a tad friendlier. May I ask you a few things about yourself? About your favourite subjects, your preferred baseball team and such. I hate baseball. Huh? I would never have guessed that there are baseball haters among American boys. That a bad thing? Shouldn't exactly be weird or something. Unexpectedly strong reaction. It's not, of course. If you ask me, I'm also more of a basketball fan myself. We already got one key word. Baseball. If you don't want anything in particular, can you just leave me alone? I'm tired as hell. Oh, my apologies for bothering you. Our conversation was quite informative. For me, thank you. Informative? How so? Let's see, you hate baseball, and that's how I learned to better not invite you to watch a great league match with me. Furthermore, deep down inside of you, there's an Irishman hidden. Damn! The boy's good! The boy's good! Presumably Northern Ireland. Am I wrong? How did you... Alertness. The yellow lights flash. I can faintly hear an Irish accent in your English. You. What are you? A murderer. Have a nice afternoon nap. Ashlink's real name, Arslan J. Clarius. Birthday, August 12, 1968. Family, father, James Clarius. Mother, no data. Brother, Griffin. No trace of whereabouts of Griffin J. since he went to long-term Vietnam, 1973. Griffin's mother, Audrey Calarius, died in 1967, which means that Ash's mother couldn't have been Miss Calarius. 1966, arrest and imprisonment by local police charge first-degree murder. Same year, November, non-prosecution disposal. Murderer? 6 years ago, when he was just 8 years old. Really? Hi. I hope you don't mind having me around here. I didn't get a real answer yesterday. My old man is a second generation Irish immigrant. I never told anyone, so is he anxious? How could you see through me so easily? Ha, so your father is it? I see. It's different from alertness. Hey, answer my question. He's awfully nervous. Why? Oh, and Golzine said that he called you to come here for my sake. What's that supposed to mean? Well, how are you doing? There was a mosquito on you. It didn't bite you, did it? Now he's in a state of excessive anxiety to a degree where it causes difficulty in breathing. Hey, you alright? You look very pale. Don't touch me! Ash? Seems like he loathes being touched to the most severe extent. Anxiousness and terror. Now, to bring it back to the murderer. I wonder what on earth happened 6 years ago. The murder case of the Bluebeard of Cape Cod. Boston Times, 21 October 1976. After Robert Peterson, employee of a real estate company, had been shot dead by an 8-year-old boy, the local police discovered the bodies according to all accounts, violated and murdered teenage boys in his backyard, about 15 boys in total. The boy who shot Peterson to death had been a member of the baseball team of the young boys coached by him, and it was assumed that he got sexually abused by him for multiple times. A baseball team coach. I hate baseball. Extreme anxiety, a primal fear of adult men, a severe psychological trauma. Hey, let go of me. What did you just say? Huh? What a way to talk to me. That looks like anything but a harassment situation, a harmless situation. You really think you can get away with talking to me like that, huh? Ash? Are you over there? What the hell do you want? I should be the one asking you that. Marvin, Monsieur had requested you hurry up and go. I've been told about Ash that he used to be a real street kid living only on the streets. But in spite of that, he's an unbelievably intelligent kid. The richness of what's being taught in the lessons and a generally high standard are astonishing on their own. But not only does he understand everything, no, he even rivals the professor who are all experts on their subjects. His precocious intellect, allowing him to stand his ground with an eye level in debates, is truly brilliant. Clearly, his outward appearance can't be the only well-made thing about him. The thrill of discovering and training a genius. I guess one doesn't have to be a certain monsieur to become fascinated by him. When he's among the street kids, he doesn't fail to stand out either. First and foremost, it may be due to his physical features that attract attention, but whatever it is, there's something about this 14-year-old boy that makes the other kids submit to him. However, to stand out also means to become a real target. In a world ruled by violence, beauty is nothing but a curse. I'm surprised. He already knows basic fighting maneuvers. He appears thrilled and scared, which causes his opponents to let their guard down. Incredible, he knows how to turn his biggest weakness into a weapon. Huh? Without batting an eye. His reflexes are out of this world. That was a clear shot. No signs of intimidation nor caution. One shot without any struggles. That's what you call an inexorable, shiver-inducing callousness. I like to think of him as a god's vessel. A god's vessel? Or rather maybe a devil, monsieur. What on earth have you discovered here, I wonder? That man, yes, that's definitely Marvin. What's that? Ash's expression just changed in the blink of an eye. So drastically, it's nearly impossible to believe that this is the same boy from only a few moments ago. It's not as though he was putting on an act to make the guy let his guard down. No, he's genuinely scared. Oh dear, what a scenery! This epitome of shadiness. Shadiness. There we go. Shadiness. I didn't see the eye beforehand. It's shadiness. There he is. So far so good, but Ash isn't with him. Excuse me, the man who just left the building, haven't he been accompanied by someone at first? Hey you, what's that about? Huh? Well, you see, not a good sign. I'm an acquaintance of Mr. Marvin's. They need to worry. Ah, 5th floor, room number 515. I gather that he's a regular here. The brat has the keys. Guessing from your height, you must be big in every way. You better keep the brat in one piece, alright? Ash, are you in there? Hmm? Ash! Don't come near me. Oh no, that's bad. Ash! My god, Ash. You need to breathe. Come on, take a deep, slow breath. Don't snap. I won't hurt you, I promise. So please calm down. Trust me. I won't do any harm, okay? Trust me. Calm down. It's alright. Breathe slowly and steadily. Yes, just like that. How many years must it have been since the last time holding someone that way? Do you feel a bit more refreshed now? Come and sit down. Would you like some tea? It's out of a drink dispenser though, so I don't know about the taste. You know, I didn't mean to intrude on your privacy, but between you and him, that isn't happening with your consent, right? You must receive punishment. Am I not right in thinking that Monsieur doesn't know about it yet? Marvin and that bald-head guy, they're just the same. Don't you already know who I am and what happened to me? The one who sold me to the bald-head was no one else but that Marvin guy. The difference just lies in what kind of place they favour for it. The one likes to do it with me in the same cheap hotels like you're in, everyone while being wrapped in a down-filled quilt. But that's about it. Their eyes, hollow, absolutely nothing, as if gazing into an entirely empty pitch-black room. They all have the exact same eyes. Fear and rage. And then they even go on saying the same things, in moments when his rage overcomes his fear, claiming that it was me who asked for it, and whatnot. He turns into a merciless demonic beast. Those bastards, one day I'll make them pay for this. Are you going to tell him? No. If that's not what you want, I'll keep it quiet. And if you want to punish them by your own hand one day, I'm fine with that. What? He actually giggled. You know, the stuff you're wearing, that look ain't tight on you at all, really. Looks like rental clothing on you. Hey, what? That look ain't tight? Nope, and you're just making it worse. Do me a favor and never use slang again. He's such a cute child when he's laughing. I wonder if he was given love instead of fear. And if he could rely on someone who wouldn't abuse but gently embrace him. No, it's useless to think about it. Something to drink for you? No thanks, I'm fine. Given that it's not as though he'd ever had a choice, he hasn't had, and he won't ever have. And I think it's about time you let me hear your opinion if you don't mind. I have come to my conclusion indeed. The observation I was certainly right, monsieur. I guess I can count on your consent then. Just one thing beforehand that I'd be keen on asking you about. What is it? He might revolt against you. You refer to him as a god's vessel, right? A vessel can't revolt against its creator. He, however, is a human being. The act of trying to hold control over a human being is nothing to be taken lightly. I myself am a good example here. When the time is ripe, he might become your uttermost relentless enemy, putting everyone and everything else in the shade. Are you prepared for this? There's no need to prepare for anything. I will enforce obedience from him by all means. I understand. I'll undertake the job. A pretty big mouth you got these days, huh? How many times do I have to tell you I won't let you boss me around any longer? Ha! Don't get excited just because you become Monsieur's little mistress. You damn brat, Why are you beating that child? What the hell do you want? I've just been charged with the task of training him by Monsieur Golzine, and I already know very well who you are and what kind of things you've done to him. Huh? Ah! Ah! Ooh. I'll keep your actions a secret from Monsieur. However, don't ever think about laying a finger on the child ever again. You won't get away with just a risk injury next time. Come with me, Ash. Hey, did you just break one of his bones? Yeah, you could say so. Should still be able to take a leak, though, as long as his wrist won't swell up to baseball bat size, that is. But damn, how do you do that? How can you break someone's wrist that easily? You see, it's a matter of force, direction, and vital spots. Well then, do you know what this is about? The Battle of Algiers? A simulation of offensive and defensive battle around the Kasbah. Exactly. I want to do with you from here on out, though, is develop a simulation based on original battle further. I'll be acting as the French army, whereas it's your task to calculate the conquest of the Kasbah, led by Algeria's National Liberation Front. Well, I need information regarding local weather forecasts, available types of heavy firearms, and so on can be learned from the file over there. I prepared for you. Over the next few days, you'll be waging war against me with all your might. Got it? Alright, time to kick off. You, go ahead, please. Ash. Ash. Huh? Hey, what's wrong? You're so quiet all of a sudden. Did anything happen? No. Is nothing okay? Don't worry. If that's the case, I'm glad. Must have been my imagination. What? Ah, forget about it. How beautiful. Hey Dad, the Statue of Liberty is over there. Oh, really? In that direction? And there we go. That is Private Opinion. Yeah, very, Actually, it actually was quite a hard one to read, actually, towards the end. I mean, it's one of those things that I did say in the live reactions of the actual anime itself, when Blanca actually reappeared, that his character is quite interesting because he kind of doesn't very act as the kind of the humanity in Ash's life that's kind of very much lacking in a way. He's a very interesting character for that reason. I mean, in the anime for a bit, it kind of subverts what you see in this one, kind of in a way, a little bit. It doesn't really, Jesus Christ, it doesn't really do it too much in the sense that it kind of feels as if he's a completely different character. It just kind of does it because it's his job in the end, isn't it? But I like the fact that it kind of doesn't fully explore that he is this kind of person that Ash really needs, the kind of humanity that Ash doesn't really need. Comes from a person that otherwise wouldn't exhibit that kind of personality in a way because of what's actually kind of the life he's actually led. But he's quite a calm human being. That's the main thing about Blanca's character that I actually kind of enjoyed. I liked how the anime portrayed that in his voice as well, like his mannerisms, his voice, the way the voice actually brought him to life actually didn't very evoke that. The kind of calmness, the softness in his voice that kind of doesn't very show you that he's a character that doesn't very come from a place that doesn't actually show you that kind of kindness, but actually doesn't very possess that kind of kindness because possibly the people that he actually didn't very meet beforehand do actually exhibit that kind of kindness that he actually didn't very need himself, and that's why it kind of brushed upon him as well. So it was actually quite interesting. But again, it's one of those things that this manga actually kind of gave you an indication of Ash's life that you only got through you actually got through dialogue, but this time you actually got to see it in a way, and it's brutally disturbing, to be honest, because it kind of just tells you the life that he led, and it makes the whole entire events in the anime kind of more like it makes you kind of want him to you want him to get out of that life that he lived even more so. It's one of the things that actually doesn't really work very well. The way that actually kind of you root for Ash even more so because of the way that actually doesn't really tell you how it's all happened. It's actually quite well done because you do feel that sickness towards the characters that he lived with in a way. You want to see them taken down. It's actually very well done. Like it's not it's not to the point that it kind of feels as if they're actually kind of making a character, like, in certain other mangas, Dino's character would otherwise be kind of a very cliche villain, that he would probably possess the exact same, like, kind of things that Ash and Fury have here, but they might in theory write him in such a way that it doesn't kind of have that, doesn't really have that kind of, like, you want to see him taken down. He's just in other shows he'd just be another enemy, but here you want to see him get taken down. You want to see him actually kind of brought to justice. It's one of those things actually very well done, how they actually kind of brought him to life in a way as well. The idea that you just feel this sickness towards his character every single time on screen, even more so now that you actually got to learn about him even more so, that it just brings that, it just makes you sick to your stomach, really. It's actually very well done, because just at that very one point, it just, we got to see and like to learn actually about his life. It just, man, it makes you sick inside. It's one of those things that it's ugh. But I mean, yeah, in the end, he did actually. In the end, Blanca was right. Blanca knew all along that he would be one of those people to take him down, and he actually did in theory. I mean, though it was actually very much different to how I guess he imagined to go down. But in a way, he actually was right. You can't in theory, like, pose dominance over a human being, because in a way they will revolt against you. It's true. It's one of those things that Blanca was right. Like, you can't play God with someone, because that person will revolt against you, because he sees them as a God's vessel. But then you can see just in little tiny bits here and there that there was that revolt inside Ash's character, that Ash's in theory just tell you that this is going to happen. I mean, I guess Dino kind of thought to himself, oh, well, it won't be a problem because I know what I'm doing. I've got this idea to actually kind of take him down, actually kind of become my person again. But it doesn't change the fact that he can, in theory, still take you down. It was shown in the anime that he was a person. You can't actually, you won't win against him in a way, because he won't give up. Dino did the wrong thing and traded him all these things, because in this training, he's able to actually kind of take him down. So, in theory, what I liked about this manga as well, what it actually didn't really show in this manga chapter as well, was the fact that everything that Dino did, it was actually his downfall. It was actually quite well done, because he thought, oh look, I'll create the next genius, and then he will live with me forever, and actually will then have this perfect person. No. In everything he did the wrong thing, because now he's actually trained all these things that actually take you down. I guess, it's not a new thing, that idea, because the idea of how a person is trained in how a creator trains his subject actually in all the fields for them to actually only go and revolt against them is quite a not so new thing done in film and in manga and also in TV. It's a very heavily used thing in sci-fi, and the idea of someone creating someone and then them actually kind of learning about who they are and then revolting against them is actually quite very well known, but not with humans. Not the same way as humans, because humans don't kind of possess that kind of. I guess humans don't possess that kind of. Well, at least in sci-fi, don't possess that kind of level of, like. Because in sci-fi it's more self-awareness, isn't it? But here it's actually the humans, and they actually kind of they don't actually exhibit that self-awareness because they're humans. They're actually people that do in for live and breathe. So it's one of those things actually is very interesting to actually get this kind of, in a way, sci-fi-esque storyline between them, but in a very realistic way. It's actually quite interesting, because it kind of shows you that even when you kind of take away everything, it's still kind of scary to actually kind of think how he was trained all these things to then kind of for him to be taken down like that. It's very interesting. Kind of liked it for that reason. He actually kind of saw that in everything Dino was doing is actually his downfall. Oh man. But again, as I said during Angel Eyes as well, one of the things I actually kind of liked about Ash's character as well is you don't get to see how he feels through dialogue. You don't get to see it through action and through the way that the manga actually kind of draws him. I like that about it, because it's very much more visual storytelling than the kind of dialogue-heavy storytelling. Because again, they can in theory just say, "Look, I feel this rage towards these people. I'm going to take them down." He doesn't really say it, but what kind of precedes it, and actually what comes afterwards, just makes the event ever more kind of hurtful in a way, because you got to see in his eyes. The eyes are a very key a key part of the human body that doesn't fully exhibit a lot of actual emotion. So I like the fact that the manga actually concentrates on his eyes and actually on his facial features as well, because it's one of those things, it doesn't really tell you how he truly feels rather than just through dialogue. It's actually a very crucial thing that I actually kind of like. It's an interesting subversion of what we actually get nowadays sometimes, because visual storytelling doesn't always kind of pan out how I always expect. Some mangas actually do it. I mean, some Gatsu does it perfectly. But, I mean, we need more visual storytelling, because it allows you to actually kind of extract more information out of the characters than otherwise with dialogue. Dialogue actually is half of what a storyline can actually even fully tell you. Visuals do so much more than just dialogue can actually achieve. I mean, you can actually kind of extract some emotion out of dialogue, but the actual way that facial features do exhibit the emotion just gives you so much more. That's why I heavily respect Banana Fish, because it's one of those animes and mangas that actually doesn't really show it through. God damn, my throat's dying. Shows it through action. It's one of those things that the moment when Blanca goes in, that she saves Ash, it hurts because you got to see it through Blanca's point of view, but you got to see how Ash felt just through his facial expressions. It's a very poignant moment for that reason. It's one of those ones that it gets you even more so because of it. But I mean, as I said during the opening also of this stream as well, I like that we're also getting we're getting other characters' point of views of Ash, which is actually very crucial as well, because it kind of gives you then a different outlook on how to see Ash's character. I mean, it doesn't change how we see him as a person, because we've grown to actually kind of appreciate and actually love his character as the actual anime went on. It's one of those things you get to appreciate how he is because of the time we get to share with him. But it's one of those things also that that was actually quite loud. It's one of those things that it just adds so much more to his character just from the way that other people see him. Because it just shows there's so much more to him than how other people see him. We only might get a few details ourselves about him. We might see him one way, and other characters sees him another way. It's one of those things. It gives you so much more ways to look at his character. It actually, kind of gives you a lot more appreciation of his character overall, because you saw it from that character's point of view that otherwise would be lost if it wasn't there. So it gives you so much more context in his character from other people. So. Again, I really do always appreciate that we actually get to learn so much more about him just through the way that other characters see him, especially very crucial characters towards the storyline as well, like Shorter and now Blanca, and also AG as well in a way. But again, as I said beforehand, I liked how the opening of the chapter and theory kind of shows you the progression of Ash's character from then to now. It's one of those interesting kind of things that this manga actually also does quite well as well, is the idea of progression. Like, if you just read, which is not actually very viable, but say if we only had Private Opinion as an actual series itself, this one chapter was a one-shoot of Banana Fish, and so we actually only had that. In the beginning part, and then as the story progresses, you got to see so much of how much that character, who's very much unnamed in his current position, AG we're talking about here, AG's done so much towards Ash's character and how much actually hasn't really changed. It's one of those things I actually kind of like that opening did so much more to actually kind of show the progression of Ash's character from then till now. Well, from then in the sense of the beginning of the chapter till at that point with AG. It's one of those things I didn't fully appreciate that. It just, if you only had that, it gives you so much visual kind of storytelling that actually kind of tell you that, yeah, he actually hasn't fully changed. The clear progression. You want to see how that progression happened, but you only had that one bit. It just tells you so much. It's actually very kind of it's a very well written chapter overall because of that reason. It just showed you that just through that one bit. Yeah, actually, the more you think about it, it would have been very interesting to actually kind of have Max's point of view over Ash's character, because he's a character I'm guessing you kind of need it, but isn't there a novel that the events are written from Max's point of view? If I remember correctly, I read somewhere. But yeah. Oh, my throat. But yeah, I mean, it's very interesting because Blanca's a very, very fascinating character overall as well, because he's a character that I guess is in his own way morally grey, but he's not, because he always has that kind of I was going to say, I swear it was actually a novel written. Ah man, that's depressing. Maybe one day actually might translate it now because of how popular Banana Fish actually is now. But yeah, I mean, he's not morally grey, but I guess he actually has his alliances. But the alliances themselves also quite, very much like the characters in the actual anime itself. The alliances aren't very clear cut. He's one of those characters that might in theory gravitate towards someone, but then an event might change the perception completely. Actually, then in theory he might go to Ash. He's one of those interesting characters that very much also the whole entirety of Banana Fish in a nutshell really is how these characters are very much different because of their alliances towards other characters and how they change over time, and actually how events do in free shape their character and how they see certain events, especially with Blanca in this chapter as well. Blanca's a very interesting character for that reason. He's the events do in free shape the character overall. I actually quite like that as well. The events very much play a key role in how characters in free develop, because certainly sometimes you get events happening that might in free be forgotten as time goes on. But here in Banana Fish, all the events do in free play a crucial role into the future of the narrative and actually how much they actually do in free change the characters overall. It's a very interesting subversion of what actually kind of happen, because certainly sometimes, as I said beforehand, that characters might in theory kind of pass reference an event in the previous part of the manga or anime, but that's about it. You don't ever get like a clear indication of that's what that did to that one person. But here you get to see how Blanca saw Ash, and how that in free doesn't free impact him later on. Now you actually do in free know about his relationship towards Ash. It then changes how you see the events of when Ash and Blanca actually meet up once again. Actually, how that whole entire exchange goes down, because you know so much more about them. Again, it's one of those things. The events do play such a crucial role in his manga that I do appreciate the fact that we actually get to see this. Because otherwise, it just kind of in other series it just would have been completely forgotten about. But here, the events do play a crucial role because you get to learn later on what that actually doesn't really mean. The same thing happened with Shorter and the Angel. They actually got to know what that actually meant and why it plays such a crucial role in the narrative, which otherwise would have been lost had it not actually been explored. But still, it might have just been a passing reference. But it still did so much more to the actual storyline itself. It makes the whole entire event even more poignant. So yeah, I mean, that is, I believe, me for today. That is private opinion now. I've got one more to go, I believe, which is eBay and Ages meet up, I believe. That's the last one I've got to do before I actually can start possibly even more mangas after that point. I don't know what I'm actually going to start. I might bring back Fire Punch and possibly Mystery Series. Oh, my throat. To wait and see what happens. Also, University might in theory play a massive role into what actually can in theory cover. But I mean, do apologize actually not being here yesterday, but hopefully Tuesday next week actually kind of are free. Am I free next week? I believe I am. If I am free, or subsequent days, because I believe Wednesday is now cleared up completely. Wednesday is now a free day because what's the name of that anime? Promise Neverland's actually changed days, so I actually kind of got another free day. So now Tuesday, Wednesday, and Sunday, I believe, is now a completely free day. So expect more mangas and also probably game streams as well. So yeah, as always, if you have enjoyed this whole entire stream as a whole, then do leave that good old follow on Twitch, because indeed there's something quite a bit. If you haven't enjoyed it here on YouTube and you do want to leave a like, then leave a like, because indeed there's something quite a bit. If you haven't enjoyed it here on YouTube and you do want to leave a sub, then do leave a sub, because indeed there's something quite a bit. If you haven't enjoyed it here on YouTube and you want to stay a bit longer after the whole entire point, then do in theory follow me on Twitter, because indeed there's something quite a bit. Actually on Twitter, actually, when I know when streams go live. Any other streams I do as well. And also actually I don't have a Twitter account, but do in theory have a Discord server as well. I do have one of those servers, which actually doesn't really tell when streams go live. And the other streams I do as well. Also, should actually apologise for sometimes my pronunciations of certain words. One thing I will say is sometimes with certain scans of certain mangas, my eyes will just jumble words up and actually kind of change them, because certainly sometimes I'm actually kind of blind when reading. So do apologise if my pronunciation sometimes kind of messed up. It's because my eyes are kind of terrible when it comes to reading sometimes. It's a thing. It's a thing I've always had. So do apologise, but I hope I got most of it right. It's just some words are kind of screwed up, I know for a fact. But anyway, until next time with Fly Boy in the Sky, I'll see you guys later. Bye for now.